He was a well-read man. I mean, many minders were those days, and probably still are, per se. And but he would, I think, the use of words and that kind of humour with certain Dickensian characters and so on always had a deep effect upon me, and a respect for words. Because in the old days, I'm talking about the 40s and things like that, people did have a respect for kind of learning. I mean, you know, it's often said sometimes that you shouldn't let your education
hold you back.
Well, the education hold you back from learning about things. But I think that's where it comes from, certainly.
Right. I mean, you are a true wordsmith, and you use words fantastically.
Well, I don't know about that.
And then dumb off. Everyone's a critic.
I think it's the ghost of John Reed.
Are you taking my...
Take my name in vain?
Yeah. Well, I won't swat it, at least not on camera.
No, I think, I think that's where the play comes in. It's really a child. I mean, Tom Waits has got a song called about I Don't Want to Grow Up. And I think if you can stay in that space and be happy and play in that space, and to me it's a very solitary thing, really, to be honest, as a songwriter, but I still enjoy going inside of myself. When people talk about getting older and feeling lonely, I never am, because I just go to my own world on a computer and I'm aware. Yeah,
it's that thing of childlike rather than childish.
Yeah. And gradually, I think you get a little bit better and a little bit better. I think, you know. Yeah. And obviously you still make mistakes, and certainly you put something together. I did something recently. I came across a fascinating story about a little Irish lad in Pennsylvania, and I put these words together. I was really happy with it, but I could tell with this three times that it just didn't work the way I did it. So
is this Concarbon?
Yeah.
So, well, I think it's a very affecting song.
Well, I like the words.
And your introduction as well puts it into a context.
Yeah, I didn't feel I was getting much response, so my thing would be then to take it back and look at it again and see where am I going wrong in this technique. So self-analysis, I think, is a good thing.
Yeah, but not critical to the point that you don't release anything.
No. I mean, I've come across so many ludicrous situations. There was a guy I met in the supermarket, and he said to me, and I'll better not mention his name, but he said, how's the songwriting going? I said, oh, okay, you know. And he says, oh, I'm writing loads of stuff. Now, this is a fellow who never goes anywhere, right? Never sings them anywhere. He says, and then ludicrously he said to me, but I'm getting into comedy now. And I thought, well, it's only you and your wife and the dog.
Yes.
You know, you've got to take your stuff out there.
Absolutely.
To have something done. I mean, it's the childlike things. I love it. I mean, years ago, I don't know if you remember, I did a song called See a Toad Across the Road.
Oh, yes.
Toads being squashed. Yeah. Now, I've had years and decades later somebody telling me that they still remember that.
Yes.
You know, or the child used to sing that in the bath. And so on, and I find that really a thrill.
Oh, absolutely, yes. If somebody was to remember anything about what you would.
But I mean, they are not the songs that are going to get you a gig at the Singers Club.
No,
let me tell you. You know, they're just not.
What's the Singers Club? Was this a?
Well, that was the Ewan MacColl spin-off from sort of his drama, really. Okay. Where people had to improve again and
like
again.
The critics. Yeah.
It was the critics group. I mean, I'm not sure I should say this on camera, but Bob Davenport told me about Jack Elliott, who was a marvellously self-contained man who knew who he was, but he was turned down for a gig there because he hadn't improved. So the only idea was that he had to improve. Now, I don't believe in that sort of like control system at all, because I believe creativity comes out of chaos.
Yes.
You know, and there's nothing better.
Well, my life must be marvellous because it seems to be in chaos.
Well, I'm sure it is, and that's where it comes from. You can't have a 5-year plan to do something. I mean, I read recently, I think it was Woody Allen said, if you want to make God laugh, tell him you've got a plan. Because that's not the way it works, really. And I don't think it worked with the critics group with Ewan MacColl. And I think Peggy Seeger's admitted to that as well now.
It did seem a bit like sitting in the exam rather than...
Yeah. Well, I did a little... I went down there once and I came away, you know, incensed I can't remember all the song, but it was something like, I'm an old folk singer and have a folk song club or something. But then the chorus was, sit there, sit boys, sit, don't you dare to say a word. Remember where you are now, lads, you're in the house of God. And I'm your guardian angel, I'll teach you the right from wrongs. Don't you dare to enjoy yourself, they're here to listen to songs. You know, and I think that's,
I like it.
that's the kind of attitude.
Yeah. There is, unfortunately, I do think there is sometimes a bit of a poor-faced attitude towards folk music. I mean, it was done for an emotional release, something that affected somebody, and they would make up a song and sing it to other people. Sometimes, I mean, just sometimes, I sometimes wonder about whether folk music needed to be pushed onto a stage. You know, that's a personal thing.
Well, yeah, yes, I don't know. I think you just got to let things go where they go. I mean, the young folk singers now are much more organised than the old ones were in the old days. You know, they were just out for partying all the time, really.
Exactly.
And just rollicking along, making up songs, and off you go. But another very important point in my life was meeting Matt McGinn.
Right.
Because he was, although there was Woody Guthrie who sang his own songs, along comes Matt McGinn, and talking to him and laughing with him and talking with him and everything. And he did all his own songs, and that was another point of departure for me.
Right. Because that would have been still quite unusual where you were, and at that age that you were at.
Well, I mean, obviously, I look back now and I think, blooming heck, you know, I mean, that's a brass neck to go out and do nobody else's songs but your own,
right,
when you're in your early 20s or something like that. But that's the path I chose, and mainly I would think probably because of Matt, who I used to really enjoy talking to.
There is this thing, I mean, when you say you met up with Matt McGinn, I mean, a lot of your songs are historical, but also a lot of your songs are hysterical. You know, hysterically funny.
Oh yes, I mean I didn't copy anything off Matt McGinn in terms of the way he did songs or anything like that.
No, but he kind of showed you a way.
Well, just that he did his own songs.
Yeah.
And Matt would wake up in the morning and just write a song about something that had happened, and you know, and he's written some poignant songs, and he's written some funny songs, and all the rest of it.
Do you think that sometimes people, when they'll remember Show Toad Across the Road and You Took a Fine Time to Leave Me, Loose Wheel and things like this, that people remember those as much as your more important, well, I say important, but for me important songs, your political and narrative songs?
Well, I don't know, and I don't think once anything's escaped away from you, I don't think you can know where it's going to go, really, to be honest with you. I don't think those things like The Oldest Swinger in Town or anything like that have defined me. I think it's the other things.
Oh yes. Yeah.
But Loose Wheel, I mean, that's a parody, and you know, technically you should keep away from parodies because, you know, you can get your knuckles rapped if you write parodies.
Yeah.
But that saved me on a couple of occasions.
Yes.
Things are going badly, it's Loose Wheel. And
I've got to say Crystal Chandelier. That's always been mine. First time I heard it, I could not hear a tune in it at all.
Yeah.
And you just go like, you know, the Crystal and everybody is suddenly calm.
That's
right.
right.
That's fine. So you do have
get
that.
out of jail card.
On the bottom of your emails, you've got sing your song, dance your dance, tell your story, I will listen and remember, which is from Utah Phillips. Utah Phillips.
Yeah.
Do you feel as if from Guthrie and Mother Jones and Con Carbon that you're handing on a baton of songwriting?
Well, I honestly had no idea of doing that, and you know, I've already previously said I'm amazed that things have lasted as long as they last. Some songs, but in point of fact, they have. I don't know. Another aspect, really, of my dad's political philosophy was not to kind of show off and just be part of the workers, really.
All right. Yeah.
So in some ways, I'm happier doing that.
Yes.
I'm happier pushing the songs rather than myself, and I find that kind of praise a little bit sort of like I'm sizzling and squirming a bit on it, like a worm on
Oh, you should. Well, you really shouldn't. I mean,
well, I do, because I just feel as if it's, well,
You're just doing what you're doing.
Yeah, I mean, I like it when it's all the lads are together and all contributing, and the girls, and everybody's contributing and singing, and at the back of a bus on the way to, on a school trip, and just having a good time. I don't want to be esoteric or anything like that.
No.
Well, I want to be myself,
well, I don't know. I think you underestimate the effect that you've had on like other singers and songwriters, and the fact that you've made like a passage for other people to follow. That you don't have to be poor-faced.
Yeah, well,
and you don't
obviously, I'm absolutely delighted if they have, obviously. But I mean, I couldn't take credit for any kind of sort of vision of the future. I mean, there was a guy emailed me yesterday for permission, and I don't think he needed it, to put some of the words of the Workers' song on a T-shirt. I don't know where he's from, but he had the name Halley somebody, and that was quite pleasing. And he said that, and I thought, well, I don't know about that really, but it's nice. It's nice, I suppose. Yeah.
Oh, well. I just think it's fantastic.
Especially these young people on the folk degree course.
Mm-hmm.
Because I mean, mining for some reason is a topic that's worldwide. And
absolutely.
it's been well explored musically, and they're doing things and singing about things that they haven't a clue about really. And I'm not saying that I have a great clue about them, but it's just a magic, I suppose.
Yeah. There is that thing that you don't, if you sing a murder ballad, you don't necessarily have to have been a murderer.
No. But you can murder a ballad, I suppose, as well. But I think, I'll tell you another thing that why I don't like praise in that kind of way. I think that means you're almost like finished with it. You've always, with songwriters, now I went into, I'm not saying a dry up period, but doing other things, when you're having a family and kids and all the rest of it. And I just wandered away for many, many, many years, and to come back. And I found the strongest thing, if you're stuck, is to go right back to first principles. Like you were with your school blazer on and singing in a passionate kind of way. That's where to go. Always never forget about your first principles. And as soon as you start sort of, it's like the king's new clothes, believing in yourself as if you're some highfalutin thing, you're finished.
Yes.
Really.
Oh, yeah.
You must be, as realistic as you can, or, I'm a dreamer really, but in that kind of way I'm a bit dreamy. And because I can't do anything other than write songs. So, not really. But I do think you've got to stay in touch with first principles and not, definitely not get big-headed or anything like that.
Yeah, well, I don't think I've ever felt big-headed. So, no. But it's only because you care is the top and bottom of that. Because you don't wind up thinking this is the best song in the world. And
I love the idea of. I mean, recently I struggled with a song about a very interesting character called Thomas Spence. Started in Newcastle and ended up in Newgate Jail in London, and he was the first one. Supposedly, yes. But he was a courageous man in the context of his times, and about 1750. And I was struggling with his songs. I liked the ideas and the political ideas he had, and he was the first one, presumed, that they say used the phrase "rights of man" rather than and so on. Thomas Paine. And I thought about this, and I'm struggling with it. And then I came across a singer in Newcastle who just had the right kind of voice. And so I asked him to work on this song a little bit with me to sort of put me way. And I got me way there. And I finished the song, and I was really quite happy that I'd finished it. Fine, great. And then this lad, Pete Burnham, sang it at one of the sessions we go to. And then suddenly people said, who wrote that, you see, and stuff like that. Now, I couldn't forecast that people would be interested in that song.
Right.
So it had a different reaction than Concarbon, you see, in that kind of way. So, I don't know where I'm rambling on about really, except that I just think, you should keep on going, you should keep writing, but don't sort of think, I'm God's gift or whatever, Just really, really go back to first principles and just do the very, very best you can. And if you learn a couple of tricks along the way, great.
Yeah. I mean, you're great with melodies, is the other thing, and melodies, the words, the ideas, all seem to sort of like formed like great songs. I admire your modesty, by the way.
Well, my sister has the melodies and I've got the melodies, so something like that. Well, I don't know really. I don't know. I mean, you've got plenty of experience as a songwriter now, and you know that you do things that maybe something. Another aspect is a song whose time hasn't come yet.
Yes.
Really.
Yeah. And be patient. Patient with it. Yeah. It'll come. If you force it, then it sounds forced.
I mean, that one that you've recently recorded. I mean, the person who put that on its way to a lot of people here, it was Barry Temple in Newcastle. He found it on my website, and he's a songwriter as well. And he fancied doing it, and he took it out and sang it with his wife and everything else. And I was quite amazed at that, because I thought, oh, I've waited ages for that, to happen.
Yes.
So, I don't know if you're going to go on to sort of what you need as a songwriter, but I think if you're going to promote songs, you need good people to promote them as well as yourself as well, don't you?
Yeah, I mean, you've given me loads of advice, but really I want this to be a talk about you, so that...
Right. Well, I'll pay tribute to Dick Gockin then in that case.
Yes, of course.
Because I owe an awful lot to him from that time that I told you about the Pound a Week Rise or something. And then he did the Workers' song, and that was by people seeing that on his 1981 album Handful of Earth, which is a line from the song. Lots of people took that song from that album because they liked the album.
Of course.
Including the ex-wife, actually, who didn't realise it
was one of yours. All right. Okay.
I suffer from that as well.
What, you sit at the bottom of the garden in a shed?
well, Barry and Ingrid did that song about If They Come For You in the Morning, and it was done at Doreen Elliott's 90th birthday party. And I sent a link to the video to my sister, and she says, "Oh, I love that song, Eddie. I love that song." And I says, "Well, I did it." Did you?
Yeah.
So that was a lot.
I mean, I do get that. So people say, like, who wrote that? And I say, me. And then I do another one and say, who wrote that? And it said it was me. I just wish they didn't look quite so incredulous. Did you? Yeah. Yes. I think really that there's only one more thing I'd like to ask is, you know, Randy Newman and Alan Price had this thing where they would like trade off songs and it would spur each other on. Have you ever had anybody that you've sort of like said, "Oh, I've written this song," and you know they send you a song and they send you one back?
Not really, except I do. I mean, the only time I don't like competitions, not really, because there's a lot for people to lose, and there's only one winner. But when we were at school and I did that Pound a Week Rise, there was me and this other lad, Fletcher, who we used to sing together. We both kind of had a competition to write a song, and he wrote a song and I wrote my song, and we sang it to a mutual friend of ours, Ian Fraser, for his comments. And but that's one of the reasons I wrote that song, actually, is a kind of competition with Fletch.
All right. But there's so many different things that are an impetus to write.
Different things, you know. I think it's just chance, isn't it? Really, just chance.
In no way, shape or form is this, you know, like say, like you come towards the end of your career. I just think you're writing more songs.
Well, I think the only way you can keep going is to think about that thing about first principles. And also, and I mean, it sounds as if I'm giving sagely advice, but I hope not, you're never off duty.
Right. You have said, like, I never switch off.
No, and little digital recorders, have one in bed in case I come up with an idea. You know, it's a bit like Bette Midler said about our inspiration. Some of my friends have loose mouths, and so she just picks up phrases from what they say. I mean, you can hear something on a bus or whatever. Sitting at the railway station, I did a song called Metro Ken because the local people, that had a traffic announcer, and he said something like, "Hi there. Metro Ken here, with some useful information." Well, I just thought that was funny, so I recorded what exact words he said and wrote a song around it.
It's fabulous. It is fabulous. It is. It, like everything has a possibility.
And you must always be on duty and always on the alert. I think as well, without delving into the mystic, I just do think everybody can do it. Certainly everybody can do write one song, can't they? You know, they say there's a book inside of everybody. But the ones that are really passionate about it keep on, they just can't help them. They do it. And you are never off duty, really.
Yes.
I mean, I'm not saying you're on alert all the time, but once you've opened up something in your brain, I think that stays open, really. And I love it, really, and certainly playing with words.
Yeah. Absolutely fantastic. Thank you so much. It's
No
been
problem.
such a pleasure.
Don't know if you got anything about it.
Oh, it's absolutely fantastic. That's great.
Okay, thanks.
Thank you. I hope that